in the scene, coupled with that of a very familiar face, especially to those internationally. Pentanet on the left-hand side going to get themselves first pick priority, instantly remove away this Caitlyn, which I think, like global trends have shown, has the highest ban rates. That's not going to change. But then the Aphelios has been denied. Praedyth, very well versed in the champion, not going to be allowed to have it.
Also, the Thresh going to be banned away this time, so it's not just the Aphelios. And it's funny because Rogue is definitely a Thresh player.
Yes.
Makes you wonder, you know, Lionel, his champion pool, having switched from AD to support, just how deep it will be. Now, if you've been watching the OS in-houses, the LCOs, you'll know that he has been 50-50 between AD and support. And I think more often than not, he actually got support just out of necessity, right? Filled the role. Has a good Leona. I believe Thresh is one of his most played as well. You might even see something like a BalKhan from him. So, and if you can play a Thresh, you can play a Nautilus. Nautilus is easy mode Thresh, just throwing that out there. And also note that, you know, again, was a Heimerdinger AD carry player. Like, there's no doubt that he can play and pick up support champions easy. If you can play Heimerdinger, man, and succeed, you can do it all. How is Skimmy DC'd but still talking to me? Is DC'd on the broadcast? So I'm going to continue to fill about drafts. Skimmy, if you can hear me, you're bloody DC'd, mate.
Are we
so
here?
I'm talking.
Are we bebopping? We moving? I see the draft moving. There you go.
Because you stopped moving, but you were just like machine gunning in my ear, and I don't think the viewers got that one. So
that's a tragedy, isn't it? We go next on that one. Only thing I can say really to that point that I was trying to get out is I've seen Lionel spamming the Karma in solo queue, so I would be betting that's a bot lane.
Yeah, 100% that should be going. I don't think I've seen Karma not support in a long time now, actually. I mean, maybe we saw it once or twice in mid, but it's always kind of gone down there. And one of the cool things about the Karma, akin to the Lulu, of course, as well, is how it enables jungle champions. I'm a big fan, personally, of the... Like, you've seen the old school, like, Lulu Karma with a Kindred.
Yep.
You can still do a similar thing with the Xin Zhao, right? And actually, you know, I would say, Skimmy, I don't think there is a better jungler for duos with supports in the game right now, that, like, in meta, that is pickable than Xin.
Sure.
Because Lulu Karma gives speed ups. Thresh actually enables him to clear vision for free as well with the Lantern for safety. I think it's just a really insane champion right now, and a high priority for a reason, I will say, around the globe. As you're seeing the expected bans, just as we're getting into the 4-5 real quick here as well. A Diana first pick, I think it's pretty obvious you want to get rid of the combo of the Yasuo. Yep. And just get rid of the free combo at that. And you would also know BalKhan, if you watched OPL in 2019, as an AP jungle aficionado, loved the Talia back then as well. So no doubt this is in his wheelhouse.
Sylas has been removed as well, which Yuri's played a fair few games on. One key factor we actually found out is he actually got a pentakill on the Sylas last year when he went up against some of the old members of Moscow 5. If you can date your mind back to those days with Edward and Diamond Prox, there's some big names of old still playing, and Yuri was able to single-handedly take them down. So very excited to see what other champions he has in his wheelhouse that he can showcase with only 2 days of prep.
Okay, so we're going to get the Corki and the LeBlanc band. It feels like we're trying to force a Victor angle. You know, trying to force a standard mid lane. Syndra obviously is still going to be on that list as well. But they really are pressuring the AP options. Orianna Rise also still options to consider. Akali can go mid. And one of the things that makes Akali I want to say a good option here over something like even a LeBlanc, which would be on that list, is the mobility. Sure. Because you want to get out of the Diana combos, right? You've got a Samira that's dashing forwards and Nautilus hook as well, so mobility is important. Yeah,
I was just going to say, I have seen Chungy spam a fair few games of the Akali, so I would be looking at it as a mid lane pick. Lived is certainly proficient on playing pretty much anything. He was the only person last year to play the Tryndamere, if you can date your mind back to that also. Now it's meta, it's not banned. Could be there if they want just pure damage, just to ignore everything. And now Pentanet realized that and say, you know what, we'll just deny it from you.
Okay. Well, listen, if you've watched any NA Skimmy, there is a player there, Jojo Pune, who is a freak on the Tryndamere. His last game I saw of him was on the pick. He was obviously just a nutcase. And young mechanical players locking in a Tryndamere is always exciting to me. I think he's one of those champs that is a pain in the butt to deal with, but also has a level of skill expression, right? You need to know not just your limits, but the person that you're dashing onto's limits to have an opportunity to take them down. As lived, I believe he just knows that it's the Gragas matchup and it's going to be the Tryndamere mid. Has gone for the Aatrox.
Yeah, he's locked in the Aatrox there. Very proficient player that can pretty much play anything. We've seen the bruises, we've seen the carries, the split push, you name it. He's probably played it. He's going to opt for the Aatrox this time around and fight fire with fire in that matchup. So, very excited to see, really, what Pentanet have got. Yes, there is no Yasuo, but you do have yourself the Gragas as well as that Diana. So, certainly a case of, much like Rogue alluded to, we didn't even allude to, he basically stated it, right? If they find a target, if there's a go button, we just follow that. And this comp basically does that.
I have so many concerns for Kanga's composition, though, Skimmy. If you look, let's start with Pentanet.gg, right?
Sure.
They've got Gragas top lane, pretty good staple champion. You've gone for the Nautilus. These champions will be swapped around as well, just keep that in mind. Nautilus is going to be the support, right? So they've got engaged, they've got the hooks, they're able to find the mark. Their team fighting is going to be exceptional. They've got the physical damage dealer in the top 3 of a Tryndamere, who can go to side lanes and just be a pest. And then Diana, who is probably one of the most well-rounded jungle options at the moment. You can 1v1 people, you can duel, you can team fight as well with your ult combo to go with the Samira. They have a really nice 5v5, right? With the options of split pushing, with the options of side lane. For Kanga, I don't see how they team fight. Skimmy, I don't look at their 5 champions and see a team fight. I just see kill them with damage or kill them with kindness.
They're a nice proposition as you load into the rift, but thankfully they can't hear us. So you don't have to worry about that one. Maybe the viewers at home though, they can think, okay, well, what is the big brain move leading into the closing game of the opening night here for LCO 2022? And a chance for 2 big teams with big players to showcase what they're all about. And I'm personally quite excited to see this Samira once again. It seems to be one of those champions that is delicately balancing on the discussion of these top-tier champions, and one that, if my memory serves me correctly, we actually haven't seen from Praedyth ever since MSI.
Yeah, it has been a little while. Of course, he was insane with it, actually, on MSI, but Samira copped a bit of nerfs. Just looking at Kanga right now, they're making some pretty good moves early. They have just found Winter. You'd have to flash to follow this combo up, though. He's just going to walk away.
Yeah, not too sure about that one. Chungy's just going to play goalkeeper in the mid lane and prevent Yuri joining.
Nothing doing. Now, I just want to quickly bring it back to the conversation on comps. Because I forgot we didn't have a coach interview, and I was giving space. Aatrox top with Akali mid, 0 crowd control, right? Xin Zhao probably wants some form of crowd control setup, so it's really reliant on Lived hitting the W, but it's a Gragas, right? So it's actually pretty hard to gank for those lanes. So you've got a Jhin and a Karma to play for towards bottom lane, potentially, if that's the avenue you're going to take, and even then, right? There's not a lot of free guaranteed setup to enable a pick like Xin Zhao to work during the laning phase, besides the high damage that they all have. And they do have high damage, that's why I say that in the first place. When we go to team fights, there's not a lot of engage. You've got a Jhin that'll outrange, a Karma that can speed up, and realistically the engage is just going to be only suiciding or Liv doing the exact same thing. It can work, but it's not as simple as PGG's composition of hit a hook, or hit a Diana ultimate, or hit an explosive cast, right? It's so much more streamlined, so much more simple, and the burden of execution going to the team that we would say the worst of the 2 is rough.
Oh, look at that, the passive connections, the Praedyth leaps into action, cops an exhaust, and that nullifies a big portion of the damage, but even after that, he's been dropped down to 50%, and that bot lane is feeling the pressure. Quick pause here, it looks like we've had a member disconnect, so we'll wait for an update as to where things stand with that one, but yeah, already, I mean, Praedyth is showcasing that this is my bot lane, and leemas, you're not going to get a free pass here.
Yeah, lots of pressure down in that bot 2v2, and that's what you get for hitting level 2 first, right? That's the basics of bot lane 101, and they show you what can happen. The exhaust being used, that's just a summoner spell advantage, pressure advantage, health advantage, everything goes the way of Pentanet.gg. And so far, you would say, so good. The Tryndamere pick as well, just quietly, does... I feel like it handles this matchup in mid really easily. Akali's one of those champions that can be a pest, can harass you with auto attacks, but you're not going to auto-trade a Trynd. and he's got enough sustain to get through the extremely high energy costs that an Akali has early. So pretty poised to have a solid early game start here is the side of Pentanet.gg, and very poised once again to get to their first items and maybe look towards some skirmishes around BalKhan at level 6.
Yeah, I was always curious about when this Akali build came into fruition, sort of what it actually meant and sort of how those matchups adjusted as a result. I saw a lot of discussion around just drafting heavy CC, so just locking a Vex, Lissandra, LeBlanc, whatever it might be, even a TF, and just say that, well, if you can't get into the action, if you can't do the full combo, then you're locked inside that shroud and you're buying time trying to play the game. But just Tryndamere sort of says, forget about CC. Yes, I can shout, but I can just out damage you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's like, it's funny because that's kind of the thing that you would say Kanga want to do optimally to be able to win this game. Get far enough ahead that you could just out damage people. But yeah, Tryndamere is probably just going to be inevitably too strong on a side lane. So for me, there's a lot of burden of responsibility here for Liv, who chose not to go for the Ornn angle because counterpicking a Gragas with Ornn is a bit int, but their 5th pick really needed some kind of Ornn angle to find those engages, to really hit those crowd controls, or find a split push angle, even just kill the Tryndamere a few times. Until then, only has to 5-head the first 15 minutes,
Yeah, I suppose if there's ever a player, though, to sort of hang your hat on at finding a matchup and finding an out or an avenue of success in that top lane, it probably would be Liv, because he received the most MVPs of any player in Split 2, received 5 of them, in fact. Received the accolade of the most improved player of Split 2 as well, so there's already 2 to your name. And then the cherry on top was the fact that he actually travelled to Worlds with Peace as their sub, so they got to experience the high life of international play. So you once again cycle that back into OS and say, you've got all these fantastic players, but what a treat for him to, be touted as this next, big laner to look for, be brought into this roster and say, let's do it all again. Let's continue from where we left off.
Isn't it it's a funny conversation to have for us? Because you mentioned this before with Praedyth as well, Skibby, where it's like, is he the best ADC in role?
Sure.
And you take a step back and you're like, actually, we just brought Raze back.
Exactly. You lose Violet, but you bring in Raze. It's a crazy time.
Yeah, there's always someone contesting them. Is Liv the best top laner? Well, have you seen the people that we've brought over from these other teams, right? There's some monsters running around right now. Topoon is the first one that'll come to mind, of course, that we just saw competing on that Gnar.
Of course. How's
Liv going to compete with these players that, when you were the best, they got better, presumably, when they went overseas? And how does that apply to the local skill level and the gap that perhaps would be?
And all you can hope for as an optimist is that it raises, I should say, the region as a whole, that the scene continues to be as strong as it is, and we continue to get good performances overseas. We're this close to making it to group stages. I tell you what, one of these days we will do it. I will continue to wreck my sleeping pattern up at 5 AM, cheering them on as quiet as I can to not get noise complaints.
Oh
but
my
also,
God, can it not be in Iceland though, just for 1 year? And just give us a tournament, man. It's the sleeping schedule.
How good was it when we had Worlds in China? Actually, I felt like a human. I could actually watch it. So
that was the best.
Can we just run it back? I know COVID has been a bit of a nuisance in that regard, and it's made life difficult, but one day we can cheer the boys on at non-DGen hours and enjoy our life, as we are still waiting for a reconnect from one of the players. So let's bring Mac into the conversation. I know he's always keen to have a yarn with the boys on the desk here, so we can sort of see where things are at. And I mean, I could throw you under the bus and say, yeah, Mac, what do you make of the first few minutes of this game? But I won't. So
yep.
Do what you like, mate.
There was heaps that happened. There was like 4 CS on the junglers, and I think that was probably just 2 camps. Like, who bloody knows? Now, what I was actually thinking when you guys were really hyping up Only was a lot of the best play of the games that we saw throughout the last split of LCO actually was Only. Do you remember like his crazy Jhin, like jumping into the Baron, going crazy, and a whole lot of Baron steals as well? This man is someone that you need to watch. But I have heard that the game is live and ready to go, so we're going to jump on back in, and I'll see you guys up again.
Thank you very much. We've ascended to the Mac buff that's allowed us to get back into the action and continue from where we left off. And I suppose to top off his point about Only, how nice is it to see him still playing? Because there was a time back in 2020 when it looked like he was retiring from Order. Direwolves pick him up, he's back again, and better than ever.
He's the doing be of Oath. That's what I'm getting from that one. Wants to retire, has aspirations, has things to do, but the pull of League of Legends just keep you coming back, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes, he's still here. It's good to see him as well. It's always exciting to have Only competing. And of course, he's just such a wonderful personality. And now he's having a biff, a level down. But
he's competing. He certainly is. BalKhan gets the smite, gets the dash, and uses the crab as a taxi. We go straight back to bot lane. Talk about level 2 advantage. We'll talk about a level 3 flash forward passive. There's first bloods, and it's all things Pentanet.
Yeah, Rogue flashing to secure that one. Praedyth didn't have the flash at hand, nor did he have the heal to actually catch up.
Oh no.
So, hang on.
leemas. Flashed away, they can't get it. Oh my god, that's criminal. Nearly was a double kill, but he's just managed to limp away.
Yeah, I guess what's criminal is being hit by a hook there, though, for a re-engage angle skimmy. So they make him flash. He pays his taxes, rightly so. And just like what we did see in the first couple minutes of this game, the bottom lane of PGG, it's not just a level 2 to level 1 gap, it's a skirmish that happens afterwards. Insane hook there from Rogue, but Praedyth was like 2 whole seconds ahead of the man. Like, he really said, you are throwing a hook at a hot second and it better connect, because I'm in. And it does.
It just feels like they're slipping back on the old glove and saying, it feels good to be back home, doesn't it? This is the roster that Pentanet debuted with, and the fact that he's stepping up like that, pure confidence.
There is one thing that will be consistent for anyone that is a new viewer of Oceania as well, besides the fact that we'll have O's pauses, it's that Rogue and Hook champions are peas in a pod.
Sure.
He will always... When he plays the Hook champions, I mean, he had a Thresh montage, I believe, before he left us.
Yeah.
Way back when he was a monster. So, good to see that that hasn't changed and that, I mean, for all we know, it's been a level up his time that he spent over in France as well. And if you've seen the caliber of players over in the French leagues, by the way, Skimmy, my God.
Yeah. I mean, you start to see what they're doing and importing in some of these big names, especially from the LEC, right? You know, these leagues are certainly leveling up. They're no laughing stock as they may have been a few years ago, but I mean, he's definitely doubled down on his identity, right? He hasn't really changed the tune of what he plays. It is these Hook champions. He goes in, he plays Braum, he plays Nautilus, it's Lionel. Whatever it is, it's identifying situations where he can thread the needle and he can punish you with conviction. And certainly in the meta, which is seeing more and more enchanters, whilst they are strong, they're not going to find the same level of success if you are up against these very proficient tank players.
And you know, I've recently been playing a lot of customs in League of Legends, Skimmy. And one thing I've learned is how annoying pauses are for your ability to last hit minions. And it's so funny when a game pauses and you hear almost 10 people just sigh in symphony of, I'm going to miss that minion now and I am tilted. For some reason, it's not the pause, it's the fact that you've interrupted a flow of auto attacks that just tilts everyone to the moon.
You just can't talk, you can't click, you can't do much. And that is the true mental boom. And he goes. Rogue knows that one to a T, punishes Lionel. Takes him out very easily.
I mean, it's a very warm welcome down in bottom lane, isn't it, to the support role for Lionel? Very rough situation. Not only have they lost their lane, but I mean, a Hex Flash Nautilus hits an auto attack with a Dire in the bush, you are just dead. And you could see he walks forwards, which is the smart thing to do because it distances yourself from your AD carry. But nevertheless, it's another kill. And it is so much freedom for the bot lane of PGG to do as they would like, which can be Rogue roams to mid. Now, this has been spotted, but it's the initiative that they get. And it's free, right? There's no transaction, there's no cost that they will lose from that.
Yeah, I mean, leemas can't leave the bot lane right now. Lionel was only now just making his way back to that lane to assist. As you can see on the minimap right now, looking to try and play tailgate and clean out the vision that may have been put down in the mid lane to buff up Yuri. Continues to take trades with Chungy, who has opted for the Doran shield this time. As you mentioned previously, it's a difference between extra HP versus less regen. Really up to you, pick your poison. Wherever we go, the observers are forced to act quickly because it looks like all these laners are very keen to have a trade.
Dragon. Where we want to go because the Giant is about to start that one. I think he just has a little bit too much priority in his bottom lane, so no real risk of this being contested. If they did, it would be so against the flow, it would be probably not worth it. And you can see only doing the smart thing, the gentleman's jungle maneuver. As he's actually going to go into the enemy jungle. He's going to deny one of those wolves as well to deny the camp, but he's going to take everything away. So don't be one of those guys, if you're playing League of Legends, that sees them go towards the jungle camp or the objective and says, can we fight this? And just kind of walks there. If you know you're not fighting it, just get some money. So only does the smart thing.
Looking at Liv playing this one out. He's up a bit of CS, he's feeling the pressure. I should say Winter is feeling the pressure. It feels like every time we popped into that lane, he's locked up against his turret, forced to try and pick up the scraps of whatever CS is kindly donated across to him. He's just buying time here with that explosive cask, which really is anticlimactic. Doesn't do much. But the rest of his team are going to find success elsewhere. Look to invade, steal away a blue buff, which is nice. And that is BalKhan, who picks it up for the team to couple with that Chemtech Drake that we saw before.
You know, one thing that we're not seeing, Skimmy? All day we've just watched Gragas lose top, you know? Where's the Graves? Where are the other top lane options? Where's the Tryndamere in top lane? You know, has Oceania decided that we can't play those picks?
We can play GP, but we can't play that.
We're seeing, I mean, we were seeing, I don't know if we still are to this exact day, but we've been seeing blind Graves top as well. That's one of the two main blind picks there with Gragas.
Sure.
And I would imagine, Skimmy, that Graves has a bit of a better time farming in top lane compared to the blind Gragas. I know that it's a comp thing more often than not, but I mean, you've got your Nautilus bot lane, you've got a magic damage dealing jungler. Just one of those angles that comes to my mind.
Would like to see some Graves. We saw it played in mid lane at the end of Split 2. Always quite exciting to see a jungler say, you know what, I'm actually destined for the laning phase. I will steal that camp and I will steal that farm. In we go for what could be a steal of a fight. Here's the Herald is leashed down to 50% and Liv pops the ultimate and cosplays Kale for just a second. Won't scale like one, but certainly looks to try and output the damage that allows him to claim that Heralds. And now a very defensive TP comes in here from Liv, and that's all he can do pre-14 minutes to enable Praedyth to not go for the all-in on this kill. Bladewell goes out, flash away, a flash forward. Wall in the way, and flashes are being burnt like they're as easy as you can. We're playing at an arcade here.
Nautilus flashes the wall, hooks the wall, and Liv just says, oh god, I got a flash. It wasn't going to hit him. So I guess that just freaked him out, and rightly so. That was a very bold move by Rogue, and I like it. And he is there to protect the sins of his AD carry. That was 2 summoners used to survive the teleport instead of just walking away. That's how desperately an AD carry wants plates, everybody. That's what you just saw. Don't let Mark Lewis get away with it. That was greedy.
Has been punished like that in the past. But I'd have to say this. This is my favorite moment between these two in particular when we had the interview with Praedyth as well as Lionel, previously known as Mboma, as an AD carry, and he went in all cocky and said, you know, we're just going to body them. I haven't really put any preparation into this game at all. It's going to be so free. And then he went to drop, what, a 17-0 game on Kaiser and get a pentakill. So there were the moments where he was cocky and, you know, it aged well. So he hasn't changed his tune. He's forcing out TPs and saying, you can gank me, but you won't kill me.
I mean, one man's cocky is another man's real. For Praedyth, that was just reality. He literally did just wake up at 5:30, ready for the game at 6. Like, you kind of just get what you get from him at that point, right? He's lucky it paid off, because, geez, that could have went the other way. But it's all good. He can back up the talk. It seems the confidence was placed correctly, and I wouldn't blame him for being confident this time as well, Skimmy, with the team that he has put together for the LCO for this split one.
He's just gone back to base and picked up the Immortal Shield bow, so went on his way to being the power spike of an Inferno Trigger that literally will wipe everyone down. In terms of CC, like we discussed earlier in the day, to try and you know, deal with that. Similar story, you would say, not that much hard CC, but do you see an angle on which you know, Kanga can really shut this down?
Realistically, like, beyond what they just did, like their composition doesn't make a whole amount of sense whatsoever. You're looking at Aatrox and Xin Zhao working together with Akali. They've got a lot of backline dive. The way that they play this out is by killing carries. It's just that simple. They have a decent amount of kite. That was a lot of respect. And they make it very difficult for a Tryndamere to attack somebody. The only risk, I think, right now is the Jhin. He's very attackable for a Tryndamere with ult. And Gale Force, then Flash, and goes.
Talk about lethal tempo and Gale Force being so good at enabling this hyper carry bot lane, but it works wonders on champions like this Tryndamere as well, right? Gives you all that extra range, that ability to lock you down and be so oppressive. Gonna trade things out here as top jungle of Kanga look to make Winter's life go from bad to worse. He hits the cast, he looks to try and summon some form of 1v2 potential. Lift is gone. He's furious. Look at the camera. He is not happy about that.
That was well played by Winter, but that was pretty rough there from the side of Liv. He may be furious, but if you looked at Winter's cam, cackling. It's just a free solo kill. They summon their Herald top for the purpose of breaking the turret. It stands, and any advantage Aatrox had is gone as a result of that little moment just there. That is so rough for Kanga.
That seems to be the one point on the map that Pentanet were suffering in because they're winning elsewhere. As you can see now, the second Drake is gone. Out comes the curtain call. Dredge line to disengage away. They've got the Karma for the shield boost. The Deadly Flourish doesn't connect, so there is no room, but it doesn't seem to matter. They've got one locked in their sight. Now they find a second. There is the execution. Because the exhaust prevents PGG's bot lane from running away. You can take a Drake, but we'll take two.
Yeah, they look for the objective. They do get punished, and that was nice by Kanga. That's actually the second objective this game where you feel like they have stepped up to the mark and have punished appropriately for it. You know, 5 people went top, I believe, for that first Herald, which was, of course, the one consequently summoned top lane for that mishap. But they put 5 people there. They understood the timing to rotate, and they played the number game. That was how they got that advantage there. Similar thing to be said towards that Drake fight. You know, it's PGG trying to play with as little resources as possible towards every objective. And it's Kanga just bringing everyone to the fight. That's kind of the thing that's paying off for them.
Certainly needed that. They've been sniffing at the door for a while now with these carries, looking to try and find some of those kills and punish the aggression that they were finding with the confidence of this Tryndamere and Samira. So some of those mythics are now going to be completed as a result. Chungy going to hit that all exciting, if you call it that, 12.1 spike of an Akali. So we'll get to see if this Akali can actually showcase why this build was so feared in solo queue.
Do you remember Tank Echo?
Vaguely. Yes.
Maybe a few years ago now, a couple years ago at least. That exciting is not the word I would use, is my conclusion. Watching a tank one-hit carries while being unkillable, it just has a special place in hell. And this build's really no exception, in conclusion.
I know we were discussing going into this one sort of what picks I was excited for, and I think the one that really triggered you is when I said I can't wait to see some mid-AP Kaiser. Now, thankfully we don't see it anymore. It looks like it just takes a little bit too long to unlock those evolved abilities and hit that power spike, especially when you need the crown. But, you know, as an ARAM aficionado, it feels so nice to hit those Ws.
Yeah, I know why you want it. I wouldn't see it mid. Actually, I do think we will see a little bit of Kaiser here and there through the split, but it'll always be bot lane.
Yeah.
And I do think it is pickable in certain situations, right? If your opponents go for a Jhin and a weak side support that wants to roam more than lane, there's actually no risk in going like a Nautilus Kaiser comp, because Kaiser holds their own 1v1 with most AD carries fine, as long as the Jinx, the Caitlyn are taken off the board.
Engage there from Only, flashing forward to try and hit that engage. You're going to find it. Curtain call goes out. Praedyth is locked out of position. Everybody's going to come together and block it. They're going to pay the price. They're going to fall on down for his crimes. Praedyth still running. Rogue is already down for 10 seconds. The rest of PGG retreating. Only is on the hunt. Cutting off the angles. Not required because Lived picks up the double.
Yeah, and if there was a moment where we said Winter is back in the game, Lived is as well. 2-1 now on this Aatrox. Has a lot of money that he's just able to pick up. And what to say other than classic Praedyth. Just finds himself caught out of position. I mean, the catch was actually really nice by Kanga in the way they executed it, but still, a lonely AD carry caught in the middle lane where he maybe shouldn't have been, just for that one more wave. The lonely AD carry does get punished in the end, as you would expect. Well played by Kanga to get themselves something back. They are still 1,000 down, Skimmy, but they are fighting.
Certainly are. We'll run it back once again. This all started off. The Blade Well goes out, but it doesn't matter. The root still connects and just transpires from there.
That is quite simply a Samira that should have flashed, but we're back.
Fantastic summary there. 10 seconds and it's over. Back to live and, we're not living. Apparently, only falls on down. There's a second. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Both the AP Assassins on the score sheet. BalKhan jumps in, but there is no Moonfall this time around. He's going to find the Crescent. He's going to find the Eclipse. He's going to find the Moonfall. He's going to find it all. He is literally living life to the best of his ability, and the Korean impulse show up big time.
This Tryndamere is a little bit broken, no? It's just an easy teamfight victory for them up there. A nice flash follow-up on the spin as well. They're going to be able to push. Herald summoned also means they're going to threaten an inhibitor, to be perfectly honest with you. Anything happening on the top side of the map is gone. Liv, as much as he wants to get back to base and help defend this one, he still needs his allies alive. And you can see the damage in that last team fight. That's because it was realistically just a two-man affair. BalKhan kicks this one up onto only. Keep your eyes peeled for Yuri's spin flash, because this was super important for keeping BalKhan alive, allowing the Triumph procs after this Zhonya's subsides, and to get back into the fight with extra health, right? Reset those cooldowns. And if ever you were going to make a debut into the LCO as both BalKhan and Yuri, that was the moment to show your worth, and they did exactly that.
We've now got a flawless mid-jungle. Not a single death between them, but 5 kills to their name. They have bounties on their head. They are the ones to be fearful of right now, and you can see them working in tandem. They find a pick, and they connect. Third Dragon up for grabs here. Mountain Soul is what we're playing for, with Kanga having the inside track, only behind enemy lines. We're going to try and jump in here on towards BalKhan, which has the Zhonya's once more. Praedyth already been burnt, has no flash, and will just fall on down for free. No smite now for 30 seconds. They're going to have to sacrifice this one, but this is almost, you'd say, a Tryndamere's playground of just flip pushing.
It's just really nice decision-making by Kanga. I want to continue to compliment Only in particular. It feels like he knows exactly what his limits are in a game where the composition is difficult, but he coordinates the efforts. They find BalKhan, they've acknowledged that the Tryndamere is pushing mid, so a pick is a genuine pick, and they get Chungy over the wall, and this is going to be an Akali just quietly that isn't going to be like game number 1. Has farm, has 3 kills, and has actually gotten to that second item point where this tank build starts to become a menace to deal with, because there's meaningful...
Get to see what they can do, though, as they have showcased some of the discussion we mentioned at the top of show, right? The fact that these are all pre-established players that have showcased what they can do. Maybe the ceiling for them isn't as high because they have such a proven track record, but you're very keen to see, once again, what they can achieve. And that was sort of my go-to in this matchup in particular, right? The fact that PGG, yes, they have some very fearful players, but 2 days of scrim practice, is it enough? Is the raw mechanics enough to try and overcome team synergy? Is Only... to be careful here. He knows that the entirety of PGA here has to sacrifice their rep up, but no, decides to go in, has everything available. Crescent Guard, nice and early on. Can he find an angle for the rest of his team to collapse? The Blast Cone, which is absolutely griefed Rogue. The team runs away, and he is furious.
And that was a nice Blast Cone. That was a nice play. It was good for the rest of the team, but look at the support's life for Rogue. And Yuri actually looking with the mocking shout.
Certainly is, has the Ghost available. Now he pops the Undying Rage. He's there! He couldn't pop it! He didn't expect the burst! Liv has taken him down and said, if you can one-shot, I can too. And you can tell by his facial reaction there that even he's a little bit shocked.
That is rough. That's definitely rough for the mid laner of Pentanet.gg. It's the one mechanic you have to be finger on the pulse for. But I don't know if anyone expected that much damage to come out of them so casually. It was a cycling of cooldowns from Liv. Those are really hard to track cooldowns on a champion like Aatrox as well in the mid-game portions of the game, because the cooldowns kind of go from quite long to non-existent. But nevertheless, he dies. And once again, we continue to hold hope for Kanga. This comp that I'm struggling to really find, and it may just be me, there may be some secret sauce here that I've completely missed. They're finding windows that I didn't think existed.
It's always a pleasant surprise when you get shocked by what you see and you just let the gameplay speak for itself. Double flash burn. As Rogue looks to be quite out of position, with Liv looking to try and engage in the river, inviting himself into the opposition's jungle quadrant. Between himself and Chungy's Akali, they are the most fed members, and like you mentioned, this Akali really is going to be a bit of a powerhouse that can certainly jump in and say, well, this Tryndamere can one-shot, I can too. We have some survivability, but mine's a little bit clear-cut to operate with. We're
starting to hit a point in this game. It's actually pretty funny to watch how this progresses. That was so BM from Praedyth, just as an aside. Use his W just to stop the dancing grenade. Nevertheless, the point that I'm excited to see, Skimmy, is we've got a bunch of fed bruisers. So we have, you know, the Akali that's pretty tanky and Aatrox that's pretty tanky. Not the easiest champions for a Diana to kill, to be honest. But the AD carries from both respective teams are just quaking in their boots with how much money these bruisers have. So it comes down to a battle of the bruisers, I think, and these two are just cheesing that Baron out, but it has been spotted.
Liv has to TP. He's a world away right now. This Baron is falling on down, but in the meantime, his Undying Rage has popped just out of range of that fourth and final shot, which would execute him. They've done enough. He held his nerve, did not burn the TP, and they managed to zone him away. The price, Chungy's life, down for 30 seconds. 2 PGG just run it back once again.
I mean, well played by, again, the mid-jungle Praedyth caught again.
I just try and catch them on that mid-wave instead as Liv jumps in. He's isolated from the rest of his team. The Sturks gets popped. He's so tanky, but not enough. Inferno trigger instead. A CC's there to interrupt. They're looking to try and take out leemas. A flash from Winter. He misses the body slam combo. Doesn't matter. He gets rooted. He burns the blast cone. And there are no flashes in the vicinity. A body slam is nice. BalKhan can flash over the wall. He doesn't need to. He's got mobility. He takes you down. And now they're playing catch the Teemo. Except this time, it's a Karma.
Yeah, and it's looking pretty rough if you're a Lionel fan right now. This exact moment, I mean, you're just going to get gradually run down by a Tryndamere. There's never going to be an escape from that one. Drake going to be secured here as well. That is Soul Point. It's a mountain soul, so it's not exceptionally powerful compared to some others. But nevertheless, they are on Soul Point. We'll see this skirmish in mid lane once again. It is Praedyth getting caught, but it is just Liv going. And this seems to be a running trend for the past minute and a half of gameplay. Nice cancel here by Only. Once again, he is a Xin master. Knows the mechanics, but the fight was never winning. So he's just going to die for his sins as well. Fight kind of just a wash from this point. The first mistake is Chungy going in and being caught, right? So it's a 4v5, and then they try and take the 4v5. And unfortunately, that's the thing that cost them the most.
It's been such a close game to round out this nice. Oh no, Chungy's just going to phase check. Don't worry. It's a tank. But I mean, this gold lead hasn't really been a big talking point, you'd have to say. Yes, it's 4K right now, but never really felt like one team's had a huge snowballing advantage. You could argue that PGG have had moments where they've looked to be the stronger team. Maybe the scoreboard would represent that, but...
Oh my god, Rogue.
Kanga has certainly shown that I don't need to really worry about that too much. Only is once again trying to do everything on his own, but his team is just capitulating around him. It's a double kill here for BalKhan. Liv tries to bite back. He finds one, but it's not enough. Because this guy literally is a demon. The Korean imports, welcome to Australia, farm all those kills.
I don't think Rogue said a single word of a lie when he said it's been 2 days of scrims, but my Koreans are just nuts. Like, look at them go, man. 9-1, 4-1, the Tryndamere, the Diana, the carry champions at that, Skimmy. It's been an absolute clinic from both roles of Pentanet.gg, and what a way to start the season for them. Rogue kicks this one off with a fake Hex Flash, but it's BalKhan and Yuri that just find the backline and one-hit them. We said this could be a battle of the bruisers, but I didn't get to finish my sentence where I feel like if I was a bruiser and I had to choose between Akali or Tryndamere, I would rather be Tryndamere. And Yuri, insane.
Certainly was insane there. The consolation prize being Praedyth that fell on down. Rest of the team, though, living at their best life. Quick shout out there also to Winter that landed a really nice explosive cast on the flank to allow that Moonfall to be as quick and as explosive as it was for that quick double kill.
Absolutely. It was a nice Gragas ultimate. You got to give him that one. Had a couple of nice ones this game as well. The free kill in top lane.
Sure.
Joe would be quite chuffed with that one, but it was also about like the way that the minions dispersed from his use of the ult. It's the little things, but Gragas enthusiasts are very different to Gragas players.
2-level leads. This Tryndamere is just looking for the kill. You're gone. It does not matter. No flash, no ghost, just a Gale Force. No need to worry about the Navori Quick Blades, because he's getting the resets that he needs already. Mid lane is soon to fall on down, but a fight's going to break out just before that. 2 kills found just as quickly as you like it. The mid turret's gone. Chungy on the flank, trying to buy a time. Praedyth says, I'm not interested anymore. I'm just going to go for the win. You can disengage away, but you're going to take too long to reset back to that fountain. He's going to go gold in his BalKhan. They're going to take down one turret. They're going to take down a second at 27 minutes, and they say, we are the team to watch. We are the team to fear. with a team to get the victory.